And hello, everybody. Welcome to A Course in Miracles with Sharon. This is Sharon's time, and we're going to be reading from Ken Wapnick's book, Healing the Unhealed Mind. And I'm making sure that all my settings are right on the other side so that I don't yesterday I was talking and I was playing a Maureen Muldoon and all this stuff was going on. People were sending me messages. I'm hearing you and Maureen both. Like, okay, let us fix that because it happens. All right. So, good morning, Sharon. Good morning, Bob, Marcy, all you folks out there in Radio Land, all you folks out there on YouTube. Um, so, uh, so yeah, let me get the book back. Oh, it's flipping back and forth between things. So do you want to start um, at the preface or let's just start at the beginning of the book?
Yeah, the preface is just about what he's doing. It's not
Yeah,
anything else.
yeah, part one, we'll start. The Unhealed Healer.
I mean, if you
Okay,
just listen to Ken Wapnick, like a couple people I know have, just him alone, you do wake up that way. Well, I don't
yeah,
know that you
yeah.
wake up, you just feel better. You feel better.
Well, I think that's what happened with Keith Kavanaugh, and I think that's what
Oh,
happened
he
with
did. Yeah,
Luigi, and I think that's what happened. I mean, yes. Now, Ken is the premier teacher of this course,
I agree.
and nothing wrong with that. So yeah. So do you want to read part one, the
Yeah,
unhealed
we'll
healer?
take turns. Marcy can read and Robert can read. Robert, you can still read. I understand you. So if you don't feel like you want to, that's fine. But whatever you want. And Marcy and me, yeah, it's just like a group effort. In fact, this is a good book to do in all the groups. Because why are we here? We're here to heal this part of our mind, the unhealed mind. Meaning, once you heal, the unhealed mind goes, it just dissolves pieces, more pieces.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
here we are. Part one, Introduction, Healing the Unhealed Mind. The Unhealed Healer, the original title of the workshop on which this book is based, is also the title of a section in chapter 9 in the text. Interesting, it is the only place in A Course in Miracles where Jesus talks specifically about something other than the Course's primary focus on the mind's guilt and forgiveness. He speaks of psychotherapists and theologians, using each as an example of the ego's plan of forgiveness, one of the major themes of chapter 9. Yeah, that's in Gary's book too, The Ego's Plan. And then it's like really, you know, um, disappearance has a lot of that. But anyway, the preceding section, in fact, is called The Holy Spirit's Plan of Forgiveness. Jesus uses these two disciplines, psychotherapy and theology, as a way of demonstrating the mistake known as making the error real. If the Course believed in sin, that would be a sin. Sin is just separation, that's all. It doesn't mean anything. Both these disciplines have as their purpose to help, but they ultimately become part of the problem. The therapist is supposed to heal the mind or the psyche, but mind is not thought of the way that Course means it. We will discuss that later. A therapist would say that the contents of the psyche are real and are horrific. Psychotherapy, in the context of the discussion, is psychoanalytical psychology. That is the only form of therapy Helen Schuckman was trained in and really knew. Remember, she was scribing the course in the 1960s before the current plethora of therapeutic modalities emerged. I can never say that word. The error lies in making the contents of the unconscious or psyche real and then trying to do something about it. The whole point is that we are really looking at memories. That's all the ego is. It's just one continued mirage of memories. Theologians and people in religious life in general try to heal us of our sin and reunite us with God. In this context, the error is in making sin real. So, like, that's why the Course asks us to see the Christ in everything, because then, that's the light. That's who we are. And the objects are just object consciousness. They're not any more real. I mean, they're form, and form is not, it's not important anymore. It's all about formlessness, right? So the belief in sin over what never occurred in reality is the problem. We will come back to that also. Certainly in the biblical religions, Judaism, and the many different forms of Christianity, original sin is taken as an ontological reality. In the Bible, you may recall, sin is so much of reality that God Himself responds to it. You simply have to read chapter 3 in Genesis to see God's angry response. And yeah, that is, I didn't read the Bible, but I grew up Jewish. So there's like, the Old Testament is all about, vengeance is mine. And if you read the vengeance is mine and you give it to the Holy Spirit, then you're all of a sudden doing the right thing. But when you think that God actually said that to hurt us, that's just not true. So, anyway, the belief in sin over what never occurred in reality is the problem. We will come back to that also. Certainly in the biblical religion, Judaism, and the many different forms of Christianity, original sin is taken as an ontological reality. In the Bible, you may recall, sin is so much of a reality that God Himself responds to it. You simply have to read I already read that. The sin against the Creator, Adam and Eve's disobedience, the separation from and opposition to God's will is very real with disastrous consequences. The brunt of this section in the text, which goes to the heart of the entire course, centers on making the ego thought system real. Now, I'll tell you what I really love about the course, that Jesus is telling us it's a thought system, and it's the lower vibrational thought system. If we stay stuck in that thought, it's like we get the juice from the ego, but all it is just it's just memories. We're looking at memories. That's it. There's nothing happening. Like if I said, I want to tell you a story, and then I talk about it, then we imagine what that story would be. But it's not what's happening. What's happening now is just this. There's nothing else. It's complete isness, right? So this would include all special relationships, all the ways we make the body real. He's going to get into the meat of this in a little bit. All the ways we make our relationships with other bodies real, whether they are sources of pleasure or pain. Now, I get caught in pleasure. I get caught in pleasure because the mind is doing that so I won't feel what I need to feel in the present moment. So I'll get a bite of something and I'll eat it, or I'll be chomping on something. And all of that is just coming through from the mind, because the I am doesn't need a lot to eat. It just needs, enough to feed its energy. But I was going into like extra food and just stuff in my mouth, and all of it is just generated from the ego. It's not giving us the grace that we already are by staying stuck. This would include all special relationships, all the ways we make the body real, all the ways we make our relationships with other bodies real. I'm reading this again. Whether they are sources of pleasure or pain, all these are but different forms of defending against the underlying premise that the separation from God and His love actually occurred. So he's saying, like when we were kids, if you had a good body, you were proud because look at my body. And this is what we've done and then when we get fat, then, oh God, I have such a bad body. And it's all judgment. And there's no body there. It's an imagination that is stuck in memory rather than in present moment awareness, right? The correction for that, I am basically giving you an overview here. We shall go into the greater depth later. It's not being concerned with the forms that sin has taken, because they are not the problem. The problem is that we, as the decision-making minds, have made the sin real. And see, that's the benefit of really studying Ken, because he'll always say to you, your mind, bring you back to mind. Because if we think that this body, I mean, you didn't know, I didn't know this was mine. So what could I possibly know if I didn't know that we are all God? Right? And nobody would say that because it's blasphemous. So to say it, but it is the truth. We're part of the sonship, which is all God, but it's God consciousness, right? So anyway, um, the correction for that, I am basically giving you an overview here. We shall go into greater depth later. Is not being concerned with the forms that sin has taken, because they are not the problem. The problem is that we, as the decision-making mind, have made the sin real. And we do that through the memories. Just by bringing up a memory, you're right away seeing yourself as you looked a minute ago or whenever. So the discipline is there. So who wants to go? Lynn, why don't we go in order, and just Mickey can read too. If she wants to, she might be getting ready for something, but it all depends what you want. So go ahead, Lynn.
Sure, I'll read. So that is why there is no order of difficulty in miracles. Um, every miracle, which of course has nothing to do with anything external, is the mind's correction for its belief that the separation from God is a fact. That we have expressed this belief in billions and billions of forms does not matter. None of these is the problem. That is why Jesus repeatedly says that his is a simple course. In fact, the first section of the last chapter of the text, called The Simplicity of Salvation, text 31, introduction, what is true. What is false, and there is nothing else to discuss. The meaning of applying this course to our everyday life, the purpose of developing a relationship with Jesus, the Holy Spirit, or any other symbol of a non-ego presence in our minds, is to have us return to the mind so we can re-examine the original belief that the separation was an actual event. If that original belief is not challenged and undone, we become unhealed healers, and nothing we do will help. This is why we say that the minds of therapists and theologians are unhealed, for they have not accepted within themselves the fact that the separation is an illusion. Everything they do cannot help but be contaminated by that false belief, which directly interferes with their healing work. And this is what I was talking about before. Not I wasn't talking about that that the chakras are you know made up, which they are. That all these things are made up stories. But the fact is that, yes, I know he says all beliefs that lead to progress are helpful, useful, valid, whatever. However, if the belief leads to me then having another story about, oh, my chakras are opening up, or oh, I'm having a third eye experience, or I'm having a astral whatever it is, that's all there uh, to delay us. All those things are there to give us another reason to believe that the illusion is true. Another reason to believe that what is false is real. And as pretty as it seems, and oh my gosh, that's a good explanation as to why I'm having this symptom or that symptom. The fact is, it's just compounding the mistake. Is saying, now, not only uh am I still making the same mistake, I'm embellishing it by giving it more powers. And I'm given this vibrations, or this energy, or whatever, I'm giving it power. And then I'm wondering, why can't I escape from this? Well, I can't escape from it because I am adding more and more and more to it every every time I turn around. Oh, then that's why I listened to Luigi. That Luigi recording really got to me because it's the same thing I've been thinking. Oh yeah, these crystals will help, or this, you know, take eating this kind of diet was going to change thing, or taking this ayahuasca is going to waken me up, or whatever it is. We're just compounding the problem coming up with a solution to the problem that is not really a solution at all. It's just an addition to it's an embellishment of the mistake. And that's something that I think is not going to play very well and may seem to be very unpopular amongst a lot of folks that listen to or read this. But I think that that's what Ken was saying to us all the time. Quit making up silly stories as to why things are happening the way they are, as to who's responsible with what's going on. The only thing that's happening is I have forgotten who I am. And yeah, Robert says trying to fix the effect and not release the cause. So so that's, I mean, I've always thought that, but not really said that because so many people are so caught up into, this whole chakra thing, or, I keep saying chakra because that was the thing that I saw on Sunday was like, I don't even know what that is. I've read that word, I've said that word, I've used that word, this chakra, that chakra, doing this and that. But when I look at it, what is it really? It's a story I made up to explain a situation. And of course a lot of other people believe the same story, and then we go into how to activate the chakras. Let's activate what? It's still part of the body. If it's a physical thing, it's part of the body. And if it's something that's surrounding the um, certain parts of my body, it's still the body. None of it is the reality of what I am. So what I just read from him, this is why we say that the minds of therapists and theologians are unhealed, and that includes the minds of mystics, crystal healers, Reiki. Luigi mentioned Reiki. That's something I always wondered about. What the hell is happening here? We're sending energy to people. I can't even control my own kidneys. I can't even control my own bladder or my heart or my liver. What makes me think I can control this invisible energy that is, somehow or the other surrounding parts of my body, not including my feet or my legs or my butt, or maybe my butt, because there's the root chakra, which is supposedly the tailbone. And why are they so close together? Why couldn't we just combine them and have one and be done with it? Why do we have to have, so many of them, that because this is what we imagine. That's, in my opinion, that's how I see it. This is what we imagine. Sharon has her hand up. Yes, go ahead,
Okay.
please.
Yeah, I was going to say that in Joe Vitale's book, he talks about healing other people by clearing or cleaning. And you could try it. I mean, he does claim that that they do the cord thing, all of that stuff. Very, very new age stuff, but it works for some, not for others. And that's what we have to get. If it's not in our script, we're not going to be attracted to it. But as far as like, you know, um, you know, clearing can actually, clearing or cleaning can actually help anybody, because that's the whole point here. What if we don't like what's happening? We need to clear. We need to just do Pono, but you can do it for 10 minutes. You can do it for 15 minutes. You can do it. Now, here's what I do a lot of. I listen to the song and I walk around my house with it. See, because if I'm listening to the song, that's me too. It's all me. There can't be anybody else. So that's all I wanted to share. Thanks.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. And yes, I do. Because minds are joined, that yes, if I stop making the mistake that I'm making about who I think I am and who I think you are, when I stop making the mistake of who I think you are, as in when I start seeing that you are the Christ and not seeing that you are the body, the person, the personality, then healing occurs. My mind is healed because I'm no longer sick. And it can't help but heal your mind as well because our minds are joined. So when I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. But the way that we heal is by healing ourselves, by allowing ourselves to be healed and allowing uh, the clearing, which you can do the Ho'oponopono all day. I've done the Ho'oponopono, for everything. And I told you before that was how I fell in love with Teddy Poppy. I absolutely just Ho'oponoponoed every thought I had of every time I thought of him came up, every time I saw an image of him, every time I heard his name, every time I imagined anything to do with him, I did the Ho'oponopono. And by doing the Ho'oponopono through great determination on my part, I really wanted to heal that. Why do you ask? Do I want to heal a relationship with a guy who was a total asshole to me on every possible occasion, who teased and taunted me and called me names and said things about me? Why would I want to heal that? Because that was hurting my mind. That was hurting me. I was feeling it. So of course, I wanted to heal it. And I recognized that the only way to heal it was to heal my relationship with him. And to heal my relationship with him, I had the beautiful Ho'oponopono, which is, I mean, that it worked so beautifully because it wasn't about a personal personality, gee, I'm going to forgive you, Teddy, for, saying this mean thing to me. I was just like, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. That's it. I didn't have to go into any kind of intellectual discussion about it, go into any analysis as to, why did he hate me? Did I remind him of his mother or what? I don't know. It doesn't even matter because, this was just a thought in my mind. And, once I was through with that, we became the best of friends. And Bob says commitment is another stage of a little willingness. Exactly. And that was it. I became committed. And it's so funny. This is really hilarious. Because when I came to that conclusion, I was still with Regina. I was still in the Awakening Together and in the ministerial program. And it was my Sunday to do uh, the Sunday service, be the minister for the Sunday service. And uh, that was when I had just gone through this huge healing with Teddy, and I asked him to be my reader. And the reading that he read for me was lesson 181. I trust my brothers who are one with me. And and that, because that's what set off this entire shift in me, was that lesson 181. Well, guess what? This Sunday, Dove is going to be the minister at Awakening Together, and I'm going to be his reader. And what do you think it is that I'm going to be reading? Lesson 181. I trust my brothers who are one with me. And he's going to be talking about the tipping point, and how the shift occurs and how the shift is occurring.
Oh, I
So
love that. I
I
love that he
know
did.
it's like,
It's so sweet of him, though.
I know it. I know it. I'm really grateful. But yeah, and of course he and I think Regis still attends Awakening Together. There's a few other people that still attend Awakening Together, and I still can maintain my relationship with them, and we play them every Sunday, and we are still involved with them. And so that was another big Ho'oponopono thing for me, was Regina and my relationship with Regina, how it shifted.
That
Uh,
was hard. That was a hard. I mean, it could have been hard. I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah, it was hard because, well, I hate to say this. because now this kind of revealing here, but I never really trusted her at all. From the very beginning, I never trusted her at all. And so, uh, and so I wasn't surprised in any way at all of any
It
of the
wasn't
things
you
that
that
happened.
didn't trust her, it was just the program.
Right, exactly, exactly. And I hate to say that, and we're saying I'm saying it on YouTube, and but she didn't trust me either. Seriously, I mean,
I think
talk
that's
about
just the way the program
yeah,
is.
yeah. The program worked together that way. So okay, so uh, chapter 2, form and content. What the Unhealed Healer section is about, not to mention this workshop and A Course in Miracles itself, is getting past the form to the content. Form and content is a major theme in this course. Form is anything that has to do with behavior, anything that occurs in the material universe, which includes the entire cosmos, our galaxy, the galaxies beyond this galaxy, anything that has excuse me, materiality, in a phrase, the entire phenomenal universe. Form, therefore, is anything in the world. Anything in the world. This includes the personal world, which we think of as our individual lives that begin with conception, then birth, and the various developmental stages, up to and including death. In other words, anything the body thinks, feels, says, and does. That is form. Content is only of the mind, and the content of the mind has only two components: the ego thought system of guilt, sin, fear, attack, judgment, and death, and the Holy Spirit's correction thought system of forgiveness, healing, peace, and love. Those are the only two contents. Again, that is why Jesus tells us this is all very simple. There are even some places where he says this is easy, at which point most of us would, if we had not already done so, throw the book at him. I remember once, many, many years ago, probably long before any of you were born, someone wrote to us and said, I just thought you would want to know how long it takes to flush the course down the toilet bowl. He told us, but he did not tell us what his plumbing bills were, because at that point, the course consisted of 3 hardcover volumes. I think that's hilarious. Why would you flush the book down the toilet? I don't care what the book said. I would not destroy a book for a thought, but that's me. I've never thought about throwing this book away. I've never thought about doing anything for this book other than, put it under my pillow and hope that I could absorb it while I was sleeping, which I didn't do. But, I mean, I've known people have done that. But yes, this is a simple course and it is easy, but it's not easy for the ego because the ego says, yeah, but there are bad people. Yes, but bad things are happening. Yes, but you don't really know, um, what I've suffered. And if you knew what I'd suffered, you wouldn't be telling me to give it up, forget about it, uh, forgive it. You wouldn't be asking me any of those things because you would know that what I've lived through is genuinely horrible. Uh, yeah, and yet Jesus insists, forget this course, you know, and of course you're going to forget this course. Once you've learned this course, you will forget it. Until you learn this course, you will live it. You will wonder about it. You'll worry about it. You'll read about it. You'll study about it. You'll talk about it. Uh, you'll get upset about it, whatever. But once you get it, you'll forget it. There's no need for it anymore. It's the course is done. At any rate, he says, it certainly does not feel easy. What does make it easy, though, is recognizing there is only one problem and one solution, as the workbook says in lesson 79 and 80. When you finally get that, and lesson 80 is let me recognize my problems have been solved, and 79 is uh, let me see the problem so it can be solved. So, so your entire life becomes easy. Even the most tragic things that may occur to you or to people in your personal life or even in the world will be seen easily, and you will get by all the pain very easily when you recognize that nothing on the level of form is the problem. Nothing on the level of the body is the problem. When A Course in Miracles talks about the body, it is always talking about the physical body and the psychological body. The distinction is never really made, but as you read the Course, you recognize that it is talking not only about the physical experience of pain, but also the psychological or emotional experience of pain. Once again, nothing of the body is the problem. In fact, whatever we experience in the body is a distraction from the real problem, the mind's decision for the wrong teacher. And this is Ken's teaching, main teaching all the way through, is that there's the only problem is that the mind, we decide for the wrong teacher. And, I don't know if you like to go and look at lesson 80 and see what it says, because I think that, hi, Dove. I think that
Yeah, I
it's,
think that's really a good thing to do.
yeah, let's go check that out.
Okay.
Uh, Here's where Gloria and I are going to be starting on this. We've started on the clarification of terms um, this the past couple weeks, and that's been really, really lovely. Uh,
I listened yesterday. I loved it.
yeah, it was good. All right, let me recognize my problems have been solved. Uh,
Yeah, look at Robert just wrote. I'm learning that through the inspiration for my essays is teaching me now to live it, not understand it. It's the whole point because it's only the mind that wants to understand it. There's really
yes,
nothing to we are the understanding. I
yes,
mean,
exactly. So, would anybody like to read lesson 80 or as much of it as you want to?
anybody else want to read?
Yeah, I'll read. It's Marcy.
Thank you, sweetie.
Sure. Lesson 80, let me recognize my problems have been solved. If you are willing to recognize your problems, you will recognize that you have no problems. Your one central problem has been answered and you have no others. Therefore, you must be at peace. Salvation thus depends on recognizing this one problem and understanding that it has been solved. One problem, one solution. Salvation is accomplished. Freedom from conflict has been given you. Accept accept that fact, and you are ready to take your rightful place in God's plan for salvation. Your only problem has been solved. Repeat this over and over to yourself today with gratitude and conviction. You have recognized your only problem, opening the way for the Holy Spirit to give you God's answer. You have laid deception aside and seen the light of truth. You have accepted salvation for yourself by bringing the problem to the answer. And you can recognize the answer because the problem has been identified. You are entitled to peace today. A problem that has been resolved cannot trouble you. Only be certain you do not forget that all problems are the same. Their many forms will not deceive you while you remember this. One problem, one solution. Accept the peace that this simple statement brings. In our longer practice periods, we will claim the peace that must be ours when the problem and the answer have been brought together. The problem must be gone because God's answer cannot fail. Having recognized one, you recognize the other. The solution is inherent in the problem. You are answered and have accepted the answer. You are saved. Now let the peace that your acceptance brings be given you. Close your eyes and receive your reward. Recognize that your problems have been solved. Recognize that you are out of conflict, free and at peace. Above all, remember that you have one problem and that the problem has one solution. It is in this that simplicity of salvation lies. It is because of this that it is guaranteed to work. Assure yourself often today that your problems have been solved. Repeat the idea with deep conviction as frequently as possible, and be particularly sure to apply the idea for today to any specific problem that may arise. So say quickly, let me recognize this problem has been solved. Let us be determined not to collect grievances today. Let us be determined to be free of problems that do not exist. The means is simple, honesty. Do not deceive yourself about what the problem is, and you must recognize it has been solved.
Oh, I love that. I love this. And isn't this the same as doing the Ho'oponopono? Anytime a problem comes up, no matter what it is, just say, let me recognize that this problem has already been solved. There is no problem here. It has been solved. And
You
why
just
is
use
that?
all of it. They're all tools. They're just
Yeah.
tools.
Yeah, the problem is not really a problem.
Right.
And so close your eyes and receive your reward. Recognize that your problems have been solved. Recognize that you are out of conflict, free and at peace. Above all, remember that you have one problem and that the problem has one solution. It is in this that the simplicity of salvation lies. It is
Yeah.
because of this that it is guaranteed to work. And so, yeah, Marcy, thank you for reading this because it really does bring up the clarity of how simple the course really is. You know, there's one problem and one solution. Problem, I think I'm separate from God. Solution, uh, I'm not. I've never left God.
That's just simple.
Yeah.
I think it was smart that you decided just to deal with the course because I don't think they get confusing because you're right. The problem being solved is the same as saying Ho'oponopono.
Yeah. I mean, there is no problem.
Right.
The
None.
problem has been solved.
Nada.
And uh the only thing that is hanging on is my belief. So when we do the Ho'oponopono or we do the release, I was doing that with yesterday with Rafi, the release, releasing a story I had about my children and my fears for them and all that bullshit. And actually came to recognize that, these are all homemade problems. I made them up myself. And they have already been solved. My kids are in no danger. First off, because I have no kids. There's no there, this is a story and an illusion. And I really meditated on that last night because I was telling this yesterday. I had a dream or yesterday. I was not feeling real well. I've been not feeling real well for couple of days because I have this body is thinking, I've got this diverticulitis, which is something that is just comes up and is very painful, and you get a fever and you're just miserable, and it's not fun, but it's something in your intestine that's gotten clogged up a little bit and inflamed. So anyway, I was not feeling well. And so yesterday after Bob's program yesterday afternoon, I was just so exhausted. So I was supposed to call my daughter back. She had called earlier, but I just wanted to go and lay down and sleep, and I did. I just went, laid down and just passed out. I was so tired. And I dreamed, and in my dream, uh, I was with my family, with the kids, and we were at a big place like the Mall of America. And we were in this huge place, and there were lots and lots of people, and something happened. I don't know what it was. There was something happened that upset, a big crowd formed around. There were people fighting or something. I don't even know. It was, that's peripheral to the story. It was part of the dream. So, turned my attention to that. And when I turned back, my grandson was gone. And when my grandson was gone, I was like, oh my God, where is he? And so I'm, hollering at my daughter, help, help, Hayden is gone. And we started searching, running through the mall, going into every place, searching, because, I was convinced someone had taken him, right? I was convinced that someone had taken him. And
How
so
old was he? How old is he?
he's 12. So, but this, this is a dream. So,
Oh, this is a dream, right?
yeah,
I
this is a dream. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
forgot.
so yeah. So and he and I was thinking all kind of because he has blonde hair. It's down to his waist. He has long blonde hair. He's just this beautiful little boy. And I was even thinking maybe somebody thought he was a girl and kidnapped him. And I had all these thoughts. In my dream, I'm having all these panicky thoughts going around, having a panicky time, worrying about him and just really terrified and trying to yell his name, Hayden, Hayden, where are you? Holler, holler. But I couldn't yell. And then I realized, oh, I can't yell because I'm sleeping and sleep paralysis says you can't be yelling out in your sleep or jumping up and down in your sleep if it works. I recognized in the dream, oh, I'm sleeping, I am dreaming. This has not occurred and is not occurring. And I woke up and and like I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that was so real. And I was so terrified, but I brought myself out of it because I recognized that it was a dream. And then I realized that, yeah, that's exactly how it works. When you recognize you're dreaming, you will wake up. And so that was what I spent the rest of my day contemplating, concentrating on, just recognizing that I'm dreaming. So whenever anything come up, I'm just like, oh, it's part of the dream. I'm dreaming now. I'm dreaming now. Do you know that? We're dreaming.
Yeah, we
I'm
have to.
dreaming now. I don't
That's
even know
the whole
about
point,
you. Yeah,
right?
you're a character in my dream. I'm dreaming right now. So
Hmm.
that's what I was contemplating that, and it was hilarious because I would be contemplating that, and then I would all of a sudden, recognize I was thinking about something else. I was thinking about baking cookies, or I was thinking about all kinds of other stuff. I'm like, what the heck, man? This is how easily, I can't even contemplate something for 10 minutes without, going and baking cookies. What the heck is it? Of course, it's all in my mind. But yeah. Mickey, I see you have your hand up. Please go ahead.
That's lucid dreaming.
Yeah, yeah, and lucid dreaming, in my mind, when you are lucid, anytime I've ever recognized in the dream that I was dreaming, I woke up.
Right.
That was it. And so I don't know how people can keep dreaming lucid if they recognize that they're dreaming. Why would you keep
Right. That's
dreaming?
probably it. Who knows? I don't
People
know.
say, "Oh, I dream of this and I go flying around and I do this," and why? You're dreaming. If you could recognize your dreaming there, you can recognize your dreaming here. Anyway, Mickey, and then McKaylee also. And I don't see Alice, but I do see Regis. Welcome, Regis. Anyway, go ahead, Mickey.
So, just to play devil's advocate here for a moment, and not to contradict anything you were saying, because I thought it was all brilliant, Lynn, but are we dreaming or are we characters in the dream? And that's something that because every once in a while I'm like, this is just a dream. I'm dreaming this is and then I'm like, oh, wait, no, I'm a character in the dream. So I just to throw that out there. And also in lucid dreaming, which I do every once in a while, not of my own volition, but every once in a while, I'll be in a dream and I'll be like, oh, I'm dreaming this. And, um, and I'll want to keep going. I'm like, this is a cool dream. I want to stay here. And I can manage it for a little while. But eventually, when I realize I am lucid dreaming, I automatically wake up, like Lynn was saying. But occasionally, it'll if it if it's not scary, you want to stay in it. You're like, oh, this is a cool place. I'd rather be here than that stupid dream I'm dreaming when when I think I'm awake. But anyway, yeah, I like what Lynn just put up in the chat. I'm dreaming I am a character in the dream. Yeah, we can go around and around with all of that, but I it it gives me a little more peace when I think I'm just a character in this dream. I need to just sit back and relax a little bit. Anyway, I will pass the mic back.
Yeah, thank you. And that's a really good question to ask yourself and to think about. Because yeah, really I'm dreaming I'm a character in the movie. I'm dreaming that I am on the screen. I'm dreaming that because I can see myself. That's how I know it's not me. If it was me, I couldn't see myself. I could only see the I couldn't see myself if it was really me. So I think it's they're all symbols, obviously. But yeah, Jesus says we're the dreamer of the dream, and he also says we think we are the character in the dream. So I think it's both. I'm dreaming that I'm the character in the dream, and that's what I was mean. I was dreaming I was the grandma in the dream, and that my grandson was missing in the dream. And let's see, Glorian says, I am dreaming. I'm separate from God. I'm dreaming. Yes uh, of a concept on the daydream or night dream. Yeah, and it's the same thing. Daydream, night dream. And Bob says we can never see ourselves, only a mirror image. Yeah. So uh McKaylee, please go ahead.
I it's really brought up that about your dream. And John Mundy gets a lot into lucid dreaming. He's given classes, a course which I took on lucid dreaming. But your dream. So Freud said a lot of times it's our dreams are coming from what we're unconscious of. And I thought your dream was really interested about your grandson and not being able to find him, because I remember earlier, Lynn, you had talked about, I don't know if it's your son-in-law or someone else wanted to take a baby, and you said over my dead body or something like that. You're not taking the baby. So, I mean, it could be, that mama bear, the unconscious, something from that's unhealed, where do you remember that story you had said?
Oh yes, absolutely. Because yeah, that was uh so scary to me. Because yeah, my son-in-law, he was alcoholic. Well, I say alcoholic. I don't know the title, I suppose. But anyway, he was drunk for sure, and he came to the house like at 3 o'clock in the morning and demanding for me to, give my grandson and give him to him when my grandson was just a baby. And I was just like, Jesus, help me here because I don't want to fight with this man. I mean, he definitely could, hurt me. He's much stronger than I am. But he is not taking this baby. And yeah, I became very mama bear about that. And I just was asking, Jesus, help me. And then I looked at the clock, and of course, here again are these symbols and these stories that we tell ourselves. I looked at the clock and I saw that it was 4:44. And when I see 4:44 on the clock, and this is something Luigi talks about in that talk too, but I don't care. When I see 4:44 on the clock, I think there's angels. It just reminds me that there are angels here. So I saw it was 4:44 and I said, oh, the angels are here. I don't have to worry. And then my husband woke up and came downstairs and told my son-in-law to get the hell out or he would be very sorry. Which he did, but and I don't know, he was walking. He's out walking in the middle of the night, drunk. I don't know what he thought he was going to do with a baby. Obviously, he wasn't thinking at all. But yeah, that was interesting, and that young boy is he's like the golden child. He's like the most beautiful little being in the world, and even now, he's at 12 years old. He's just like the most innocent uh, thing. It's amazing to me. And yes, he has golden. He is golden. He is like a Leo. He has long blonde hair down to his waist. And it just it's amazing to see him and so sweet, just so gentle and kind. It's just amazing to me. Anyway, enough about Hayden. Uh, anybody else have anything to say before we go on with the reading? And Glorian says we all have concern about the future for our children, and it may be have been expressing in a dream. And yes, it was expressing in my dream for sure. This fear, that's the thing. I'm asking the Holy Spirit, help me with this because I am just insane with fear for these children. That's, I'm not frantic or anything, but I'm insane with it. You know what I'm saying? Uh, because I'm sorry, my throat is getting really dried out.
Yeah, don't worry about that, Lynn. I was going to
Copy.
say, though, first off, I wanted to say happy birthday to Gloria because we'll
Yay.
sing before we close today. But I wanted to also say that your children are just so beautiful. I see them on Facebook. They are beautiful. That's all.
Thank you. Yes.
And
Yes.
guess what? We all grandmothers are, we do. That must be the last to go, the children, because the children are like, oh no, you don't touch, not my kids.
Yeah. The children and the grandchildren. I think the grandchildren are even more because the kids, I know I raised them. I know what they're capable of. Now my grandchildren, I only have hopes. Anyway, thank you, Sharon. And yeah, happy birthday, Gloria and Marcy. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, this is very tangential, but it kind of goes along on the dream theme. Um, when I had my stroke, I have absolutely no memory of being in the hospital. I was in the hospital for 5 days. I have no memory of walking out of the hospital or wheeling out of the hospital and jumping into the car, which it's an ego thing. I just find it very strange because usually my memory is pretty good. Um, but it's just all dream imagery. But I did dream about being in the hospital. So I was talking to my neurologist yesterday. And I'm like, telling him I have no memory, but I said maybe those dreams were the memory of it. So it was just kind of interesting I try to piece it together as an ego, and there's really no point to it, but it kind of boggles my little ego brain to figure out how the heck can you not remember 5 days? Or my husband, that he was playing guitar the first day I was in the hospital, and so he can drive me ego wise, it could drive me crazy sometimes when he's playing the guitar or loud noises and stuff. So I found it just very it's just very quizzical to me. It's just a mystery.
Yeah, yes, yeah. It is interesting. Yeah, when I got hit by that car, I was out for 2 days and I didn't even know what happened. I just woke up. There was a nurse. That was back in the days when you had two people in a room. Probably still do, I don't know. But there was a nurse. I woke up. There was a nurse standing at the foot of my bed saying, "Will you please be quiet? Your roommate is trying to get some sleep." And I was like, "What?"
God.
Where
Oh,
am
that's
I?
funny.
What happened? And I've had this huge old cast on up to my hip. It was like, oh my God, what happened to me? And I guess that's all I said the whole time when my mom was there. What happened to me? You got hit by a car. I got hit by a car? You broke your leg. I broke my leg. Oh my God, hilarious. Anyway, uh, yeah, there's something about that having no memory of something that happened and being there, and having other people around you talking and everything, just and recognizing that you were talking to people and you don't even remember it. It's pretty crazy. So, oh my gosh. Anybody else have anything to share before we go on? All right. Who would like to read One Problem, One Solution then?
I will.
Okay, great.
Okay. One problem, one solution. This takes us back to the very beginning when the tiny mad idea seemed to arise in the mind of God's Son. The tiny mad idea that God's Son should be separate from his source, who is perfect oneness and perfect love. Obviously, if separation, what is that noise?
Is it Pal Talk?
I don't know. Anyway, if wait a minute. All right, where am I? If separation from perfect oneness were possible, perfect oneness would no longer be perfect oneness. Now, this is important to get because when we fall back to sleep, we can start to laugh because this is perfect oneness. We're all connected in God. So, and it's oneness. You can't I can't say the word, but God is God, and there's no power. The only power that's here is God, and the one power that's here is moving us too. It's moving us when we're walking. Again, the decisions we make are either from the right mind or in the wrong mind. But anyway, it says, and if there's no perfect oneness, there can be no God. In A Course in Miracles, God is defined as perfect oneness, love, and wholeness, which means that his essence and reality as pure spirit is undivided, unseparated, undifferentiated, and perfectly whole, as is his one Son. As one workbook lesson says, nowhere does the Father end and the Son begin as something separate from him. And that's something I remember all the time, if I remember. But, because you're not separate from your Father. So if we're not separate from the Creator, then there's nothing that our holiness cannot do. Logically following from this, and the Course thought system is very logical, terms such as Father and Son, God and Christ, cause and effect have no meaning. These are dualistic concepts that are meaningful to us who live in a dualistic world in which the concept of parent and child is very close to us. That is not the case in heaven. I like to point out that even though the Course uses Trinitarian language, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, where the Son is not Jesus, but Christ, all of us, it says quite clearly there is no Trinity because God is the first of the Holy Trinity itself. And we have to remember there's no separation between us and our Father. So, and there's no second and no third. Perfect oneness cannot have a second and third. Thus, in truth, there is no Trinity, no place where the Father ends and the Son begins as something separate from him, the state of perfect oneness. And that's just to realize, like before you get out of bed in the morning, I'm one with God. There's no separation. And as soon as you put your feet on the floor and you're in your classroom, you turn around and you say, okay, I am not in a world. I am in my own dream. And this character that I'm playing is getting old. I just want the truth. That's just it. The tiny mad idea that we could be separate from our creator and source therefore is impossible. But once that idea seemed to have arisen in the mind, we took it seriously. The we being the collective and separated sun. This is before there was a world of differentiation and fragmentation. There was only one son who believed in the delusional thought system of his insanity that has separated from his source. The belief, however, cannot be the problem because it never happened. How could what never happened, how could what never happened happen because it could not happen be a problem? The problem is we believed it happened. Look how deep that belief goes. It goes into those chakras, Lynn. The chakras are just guides, because when you really think about it, like even this process, we're not people, nothing happened. But the process itself, the divine will gives us different tools. That's, the way I see it. Yeah, we have to choose. The choice has to be there. We make the choice in what do we want to see? Once we believed it happened, as one passage near the end of chapter 27 points out, we make it very serious occurrence. We gave it a name, the most serious name one can give anything in the world, sin. Yeah, and that's what we digest in Judaism and Christianity. I'm sure in everything, really, it's separation in the course, but now I'm going to say, like in the Judaic religion, I don't see people calling themselves sinners as much, but I'm quite sure that the sin is in there because it's the Old Testament. So of course, but there's a lot of focus in Christianity on sin, but it doesn't matter if it's there or not. It's in our consciousness. When I was a child, I went to a 5 and 10 with a group of friends, and I stole something, and I was so guilty. Now, why would I be guilty? Well, you're not supposed to do that, but where's the guilt coming from? Well, it's coming from I'm going to be punished. So I heard a thought in my mind, which had to come from the ego, just put it all down the sewer, give it back to God. That's what I did. It wasn't that much. It was just, I think, just a couple little things, but that's the guilt. Or when you're driving your car and somebody stops you, a police officer, right away, it's like, oh, what did I do? What did I do? So the guilt is that's what we're working towards, releasing guilt. And there's layers of this guilt. There's layers of stories. So once we believed it happened, as one passage near the end of chapter 27 points out, we made it very serious occurrence. We gave it a name, the most serious name one can give anything in the world, sin. Something horrifically and horrendously horrible happened. We took perfect oneness and destroyed it. And all because we believed we existed and wanted that existence no matter what the cost. And to whom? How about that one? How could a life outside heaven be meaningful? Everything here is inherently meaningless because it is separated from true meaning. And the only meaning is purpose here. Meaning is purpose. What is our purpose? To just see that we're wakefulness, that the person doesn't exist, and we are all perfect being, the one perfect being. That is what the early workbook lessons mean, beginning with the first lesson that teaches that nothing in this world means anything. Nothing in this world means anything because this is a meaningless world. Now it does have the meaning of the Holy Spirit gives it, which we will discuss below. This is that the world is a classroom, but in itself, the world is inherently meaningless because it has been erected or miscreated upon a thought that is itself meaningless, being separate from true meaning. Nobody would ever think, if they didn't open A Course in Miracles, that purpose is meaning. But that is really the only thing that needs to stay in our forefront of our minds. Anyway, who would like to read more or talk about this? The whole point here is to talk about it, because that's why, you know, it's kind of when I went to see Diedrich, like I think it was 9 years ago already, but you know, there's this thing that you do where we forgive ourselves, but we kind of even became theatrical about it. Like, why would we do this when we're already what we're looking for? But the ego, the data from the program comes in and says, no, 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 you're not undone yet. You're not undone. You want to be undone. Well, guess what? It's all a process. And you can only be here now. You can only be here now. The problem, again, is that we took seriously. We said the separation actually occurred. And not only did it actually happen, but it has real effects. See, that's the problem there. My kid, something happens and they're, you know, what happens then? He can't die because he's not there. I am imagining both my children, boys. I want to get that to sink in. Come on. I'm imagining the real efforts of the tiny mad idea of being separate from the source or everything that goes on in this world. The cosmos is the effect on macrocosmic level. And on a microcosmic level, the body is the effect. That's all it is. It's an effect. It's an effect. And all it's doing constantly is it's just a communication device. The problem is not, okay, so the problem is not the tiny mad idea. The problem is not the so-called sin against God, the shattering of perfect oneness. It is not the crucifixion of God's Son, which incidentally becomes the foundation for the Christian myth that we crucified Christ. The course is named for God's Son. The problem is none of these. The problem is that we believed it and thought it actually occurred. Who believed it? I did. I know. The distinction is crucial because it goes to the heart of the unhealed healer situation. The unhealed healer believes there is a problem for all his brilliance and genius. Freud missed this very important point. In fact, one can say that even though he was an atheist, he studied this problem religiously. The problem of guilt never happened, but he thought it was real. No one described with more insight than he how the ego worked, what he called the psyche or unconscious, except there was nothing there to work. See, it's a machine, it's propaganda, it's just a machine, it's a computer. And all we're doing is just spouting off the past, because the mind can only see the past. And when we look at our pictures in our mind, these images, they're just bringing up another scenario that's like this one. And then we're not even seeing that person even that we're talking to. We are just seeing the past and that whoever bothered us in the past, because this is the way the ego works. It will bring up every little thing. And in a way, I think it's our helper too, you know. Many of you have heard me quote from Jesus said to Helen when she was taking the course down. Helen was basically a Freudian, as with Bill. Freud knew a bad thing when he perceived it. He just did not know the bad thing does not exist. The one line is perfect summary of Freud's creative brilliance and vast contribution, and yet his very limited view of the mind. Now, I just want to stop here. I see Gloria's hand, but I want to just say, Lynn and I got on and we was saying that we don't feel inspired from A Course of Love like this. Well, this is a psychological text. This is dealing with not just spiritual things, but the psychology of the human mind, right? So that's might be the reason that we are so attracted to this teaching. Like, I know that Regina's book and Brent Haskell's books, they're all saying the same thing. But the course gets into the psychology of the mind, which is extremely important because the ego is a slippery, invisible, whatever. It's not there. It's just all we're doing is being like downloaded all the garbage that we downloaded all our lives. That's it. Anyway, Glorian, I didn't. Oh, and then, oh, Sharonda's here. Oh, goody. All right, Glorian.
Hi, good morning, everybody. When you were speaking, Sharon, yeah, that's perfect. And I think that we recognize that we can look at all these different manifestations of spirit and recognize that it's an individualized curriculum. So we don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but we can take what we like from it and then put the rest on the side. And of course, the Course and, the Infinite Way resonates with me so deeply that, I find that everything is answered for me in those two teachings. But I like what you were saying also, Sharon, when you were reading above, and it goes along with today's lesson, which is let me remember that there is no sin. And of course, this is my birthday lesson. And I remember years ago when I first got to the Course, I'd be like, oh, why does my birthday lesson have to be about sin? But when you really get deeper and deeper into what Jesus is telling us here, it really sums the whole thing up. So is it all right if I read it?
Oh my God, we would love everybody to read. Yeah, we
Absolutely.
want
You want
that.
me to put it
Yeah.
up? I can put it up.
No, I'll just read it. It's fine.
Okay. It's short.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and then I'll tell you what my summary of it is that I came to, after some years of doing it. But he tells us, lesson 259, let me remember that there is no sin. Sin is the only thought that makes the goal of God seem unattainable. What else could blind us to the obvious and make the strange and the distorted seem more clear? What else but sin engenders our attacks? What else but sin could be the source of guilt, demanding punishment and suffering? And what but sin could be the source of fear, obscuring God's creation, giving love the attributes of fear and of attack? Father, I would not be insane today. I would not be afraid of love, nor seek for refuge in its opposite. For love can have no opposite. You are the source of everything there is, and everything that is remains with you, and you with it. So, in my summary of it is there is no sin, there is no ego, there is no body, there is no world, there is only God, and that I am, that mystical I. Thank you.
Who else wants to read? Oh, Sharonda, go ahead. Because I would like you to read too, so we can share this. Because it's really fun when everybody's sharing. Anyway, go
I'm
ahead,
happy to
Sharonda.
read.
Okay.
Happy birthday, Glorian. Hey, I've been up for, oh gosh, since 7 o'clock, just doing my own reading and studying. And then I came upon YouTube, your live stream. I love when that happens. And I got on because I wanted to thank you, Sharon. This is not a new concept, but you said it in a way that has different meaning for me, that shakes me up or that gives me another grasp on this idea. You simply said, my brother is not where I think he is. So I'm laughing at myself because that's so profound to me. You know how things are said in a way that touches in differently. Everything I see in my life here in Cottonwood, Cornville, Arizona, what I see on the news, that's not my brother. My brother's not where I think he is. It's so simple. It's so helpful. Thank you. And Gloria, I think that's an amazing birthday lesson. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. I've come to love it.
Yeah. So Mickey's got her hand up, so I'll hold off, Sharon.
Go ahead, Mickey.
So I just wanted to thank Sharon because I think you hit the nail on the head with why A Course of Love did not resonate with me. And it's that psychology component in the course, that way to look, instead of just telling us what we ought to be thinking, and instead of it telling us what we should be doing, it shows us why we're doing the things we're doing and what is beneath what we're doing and what we're thinking. So thank you. I thought it was me. I thought that there must be something wrong with me. Everybody else is loving this book, A Course of Love, and it is just leaving me completely flat. And I thought something was going on with me that wasn't getting it, or, you know, who knows? But
It's like dry. It's a little dry. This is not dry. This is juicy. It's really
I,
getting into the
for
meat of
us,
it.
for
Yeah.
us,
Yeah.
and it's not that there's something wrong with me or something wrong with them or anything is not perfect the way it is, but it's just that there's something about the psychological component of A Course in Miracles that really rings my bell. So that's all it is. And thank you so much for clearing that up. Okay, and I'll pass.
Go ahead now, Rhonda.
Yeah, I was just going to say thank you for that, Mickey. And yeah, that's kind of I don't know if you were listening to the whole conversation, but earlier that's how we started. It was like I was just like I'm just not feeling it, and I don't. And I tried, and I go to the meetings and I listen to things people say, and they're so enraptured, and I'm like, I don't get it.
I
And
was listening and I wrote in on the Pal Talk board, but I guess it wasn't up on your screen at that point. But I was listening earlier this morning before my lesson
oh,
group.
I'm seeing that now.
And I heard you say that, and I wrote something about the chakras also, that we love to pay attention to all these things, and we're like, well, it's all energy and bodies are energy, and but then when you really get down to it, it's all part of the illusion. And if we want to play around in the illusion with energy and chakras and angel numbers and whatever, have at it. And I know Luigi makes fun of this all the time. And I go to Luigi's meeting every week. But if it's something that'll spark us into some sort of realization or awareness, or remind us that we're not alone, or that God is with us, or that there's angels, it can't hurt. It can't, unless we're so deeply rooted in it that we cannot occasionally back out of it and say, oh, yeah, I'm going to remember to laugh now
Yeah.
because it's all an illusion,
Yeah,
and it,
I think it can't hurt as long as I keep it to myself. When I start thinking you should think it too, then that's the problem. And I think
correct.
that's where everybody gets into such insanity, is because I think I'm right, and so you should agree. And we're there is a different course for every single one of us. So I'm not here to judge your way.
Yeah.
I do, but I'm not here to do that. Gotta be honest here. Okay. Let's see, Glorian, and then Sharonda. And was Sharonda up next? No, I guess no. Glorian's up next. Go ahead, Glorian.
I'm just going to be quick. I like what Mickey shared. I like what you both shared. And, Jesus tells us all beliefs that lead to progress should be honored. So ultimately, it's our response. We don't have to judge anybody else's unfoldment, but what does not work for us doesn't work. And I'll share this honestly. Years ago, our community, we did look at that book and we started to read it and we put it aside. And we really did embrace everybody's books and studied a little bit about all the religions. And so that's kind of what we were doing. So when it came up again here, I said, okay, I'm not going to have a preconceived idea about it, but it does not resonate with me as well. And I think to attest to what Mickey was saying, this course is, the workbook lessons. And of course, the text supports that. But those first 50 lessons, what we're doing is we're looking at that error. We're looking at that upside down thinking. Freud had a fabulous way of looking at the dynamics of the ego, and this comes through. And then, of course, Jung, bringing the unconscious to the conscious and then taking it to the mystical. So it just resonates with us, and that's great. And I'm so grateful for it. And if a brother feels that they, are getting something from some other discipline, amen. But anyway, that's my piece. Thanks.
And how about Dove too? Oh, am I echoing? Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and jump in. It's interesting to have hear the discussion about Course in Miracles, Course of Love, because for myself, when Course of Love came in, I thought, oh my God, this is me and my theme. I don't want another book. And people would say, Course is so mental, Course of Love is so loving. I'm like, what are you talking about? Course in Miracles is so incredibly loving to me. I just couldn't relate to that, whatever that was. And I needed the undoing, I needed the teaching of how I live and think in the world. I needed that undoing. I have a degree, my master's degree is in counseling. I love process and analyzing. I love it. So Course in Miracles is right up my alley. What did I want to say? So last summer, a woman was visiting Sedona. You know, the Sedona study groups, they have a space, they have a physical space, and then there's a bunch of us online. And a woman was visiting, and I reached out to her. I said, do you want to meet for coffee, whatever? We did. Well, while we visited, she started speaking about A Course of Love. And I said I wasn't interested. I saw people I knew in the past who were into A Course of Love, and all of a sudden they're losing the concepts that were so basic in my experience, that was so basic to A Course in Miracles. And I'm like, I'm not interested in this Course of Love. This woman, when we were visiting, says, oh, you're just not ready for it. I'm like, don't tell me that. Don't tell me I'm not ready for it. And so I tried not to react. But you know what? I processed and I thought, why don't I get a copy of the book and look at it for myself? And I don't know for how long it sat on my shelf here, but in the last few months, all these groups that I'm involved with, all of a sudden they're picking up A Course of Love, and as well as this group. And so I started trying some meetings, and I'll tell you what, when I read that book, especially on my own, I am I am loving it. I am absolutely loving it. Sebastian Blakeslee and Choose Only Love and all that. I don't know why. I'm not drawn to that. I have to just trust what I'm drawn to and what doesn't speak to me in this moment. And if it does later, I'll pick it up. It's like I always think I have to do it right, or if I'm not reading this book or that study, I'm going to miss something. I'm going to be denied something. It's like what I'm doing is not enough. So this is really helpful for me to say, I got to trust where I'm led and where I'm not led for today. So it's good to say that to this group. And I'm surprised. I'm loving A Course of Love. Though I think I'm going to get on a study group like yesterday. All afternoon, I thought I'd get on that one at 5:30 with Glenn Hoffman. And then when it came to 5:30, one more week, I didn't get on. So what? So what? Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate the chance to say all that.
No,
Thank
that was
you.
beautiful. Yeah. Dove has been trying to tell,
Yeah.
talk.
First of all, Sharanda, we have A Course of Love here every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Sharanda?
Yeah,
She's drinking something.
she acknowledged that she heard you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
The reason I raised my hand is to say to Sharon, wow, because what you said, which I thought was in the reading, we don't know where my brother is not where I think he is pure spirit. And this Sunday, Lynn and I are doing the homily at Regina's, Awakening Together. And I'm going to be mainly looking at lesson 201. I trust my brothers who are one with me, which is Lynn's favorite lesson. And there's two sentences in it. The first one is it's only 6 words long. And you know how I feel about 6 words. No one but is my brother, period. That's the exact same. And when I heard it, I said, wait a minute, is Holy Spirit giving me another download? He did through you, Sharon. I don't know where my brother is. I think he's over there, somewhere in Zoom. No, my brother is everywhere. You gotta laugh.
Thanks, Dove. I must have been explaining something because, like, I am now like practicing seeing my children as the Christ. Because to me, it has to be a practice. If I see myself as the Christ, then everyone is the Christ, and it's there is no brother really. It's just a story that we're living through because there really isn't. Brother is another symbol. It's all symbols. So. But it's the book, it's taken me, I was intimidated by A Course in Miracles. The book itself was intimidating. I wanted it more than anything, but I am dyslexic and I have like ADHD. So I was and a lot of the way it wrote, my ego was just always making it like, well, go to Ken, go to the, and now I'm reading it and loving it. And I listen to it on Audible too, because the ego is intimidated by this book. This book is the one book that says you are not there. There is no world. And the ego will get intimidated until there's no ego. So I just kind of just admit it. Okay, well, the ego, I'm not intimidated. The ego is. Yeah. The book has everything. And Dove, when you ended up with this book and only this book, that's a telltale sign of why you're where you are, because the book itself has everything in it. You don't need another book, but of course I keep buying them because I have a program running from get more. And the Ho'oponopono and the release technique are very good tools. Anyway, where are we now, Lynn?
I have just one more to add. I found a number 21. You know how he says any one of these 20 lessons is the entire course? That's like what I'm going to be sharing on. I call it the tipping point in A Course in Miracles. I found number 21 though. Does anyone know where 21 is?
No.
I'm willing to see things differently or something like that.
In the introduction, he says, I can sum up this entire course for you in these simple words. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God.
Yeah. The book is it's written by a genius.
Yesterday in Glenn's meeting yesterday, I wanted to say that because we were going through all those different ones, and I was like, the most important one, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. That's it. So yes, exactly. It's amazing. One mind. Thank you, Dove.
I'd like to add just one more thing. The reason that we don't get it the first time in the introduction, because I can sum up the whole course for you and everyone laughs. You have to come back with certainty and innocence in order to hear it. Certainty, what can be more certain than a son of God? And our innocence is our holiness. So there's nothing my holiness cannot do. But what is holiness? Innocence. So you must return to the introduction in certainty and innocence. I'll be sharing that on Sunday, by the way.
Awesome. McKaylee, please go ahead.
I just wanted to say it's so important to study this. I just found out that Robert Redford, who I really enjoyed, just passed away this morning. And he passed away in a beautiful place in Utah, surrounded by the mountains. They don't say God physical form, but it's important. We just never know when that time's going to come. So thank you.
Oh, I love that you shared that. I loved him. I
Yeah, me
always
too.
loved him. Him and Paul Newman, they were just, and of course, we're going to be attracted to goodness, and they were just good people. So,
Jeremiah Johnson. I love that movie. So many of his. Thank you, McKelly, for sharing that. And yeah, I mean, we love the characters. Well, and what is it that you love about that character? It's
he's,
everything you love about yourself.
well, the
When you look
kindness,
at them,
I
you
just
love
think,
yourself.
yeah,
Yes,
he's so kind. He was so kind. Both him and Paul were friends, and um, they just have a different, like I would read articles on them. The thing is, as time goes on, I am more attracted to the goodness because we are so good. I mean, as a being, and we're playing these parts that are in duality, and we all have the same hatred as everyone out there,
that's
and
it.
that's a big lesson, isn't it?
That is a big lesson.
I love people. Oh, I love him. I just always did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I saw that this morning.
he didn't do anything. He didn't go anywhere. He just went through another door, as they say.
He got out of the car, as Rafi would say.
Yeah, he
So
got out of the car. It's the same thing. Yeah.
yeah. And Glorian says we see it, we own it. And that's really honestly something there's been a lot of uh activity, and I don't even know if you guys know anything or have heard anything about this, but there was this guy who was like a right-wing uh basically a podcaster, or he did some he tried to challenge everybody about their beliefs, and he was always trying to prove how right he was, and he said some pretty outrageous things sometimes. And so just recently someone killed him, shot him, and like there's this huge controversy going on between people. There are some people who are like, well, it's good because he said some pretty horrific stuff, and put a lot of thoughts into the world that were really need to be challenged and really need to be looked at. But then also on the other hand, there was a whole nother side of him where all people were seeing of him was, I love God and I'm a Christian and Jesus is wonderful and I'm trying to do everything for Jesus. So there's a whole population of people that's all they know about him was that he loved Jesus. And there's a whole nother population of people that all they know about him was that he was, a hate monger. And so, and it's bringing about this conversation, because if you say, well, it's a good thing because he was pretty horrific, then you're going to be blasted. And if you say it's a bad thing because he was a Christian guy and a good guy, you're going to be blasted. Everybody, and I mean, there's a lot of famous people who are being attacked for saying he was a good guy, and I mean, it's like almost civil war going on over this one person who just so clearly exhibited this split mind. Um, and
You're talking
and
about the guy that was murdered?
Yes, uh-huh. I'm not going to say his name because I don't
Right.
see any need of
There's a lot of
because it could
fighting
be
going on. I
anybody.
see
It
that.
could be
It's
anybody.
silly.
But what we were seeing, people were seeing of him two totally different sides. And they were identifying with the side that they were seeing. And so they were either supporting him or hating him. But I looked at it, I recognized as I was looking at this, I thought, how could he fool so many people for so long? And I thought, who was being fooled? Because I saw him as one thing, and so I couldn't see him as anything else. They saw him as the other thing, and they couldn't see him as anything else. And we're both being fooled because he was neither of those things. He was a projection of my mind. Those thoughts that he was putting out there that were like, you know, knives to my heart, when I would read them, I would have a visceral feeling about it. Oh my God, this is so horrible. I just want to get up and fight. I wanted to go out and just do damage when I read those things. Okay, so that's my own self-hatred because I do kind of think some things like that sometimes.
Well,
I do
everyone does.
kind of think so, I mean, and because I am saying it like that, I'm recognizing that it is very subconscious, and I'm very there's probably a deep, like the bottom of the iceberg of hatred going on inside of me that I haven't even touched because I've covered over it. Like Cheryl Valentine used to say, "Put whipped cream on shit." I I I'm, I'm trying to cover it over with, all my good intentions. Uh, and even my hatred of, get this guy out of here because he's hurting people. Those are my good intentions that are completely misled by my ego imagination that somehow or the other something really happened. Something is really happening, but nothing is really happening. It's just my mind that is projecting. And let's see. And I see Sharon, you have your hand up, and
Oh,
I'll give it
I
to you.
wanted to just tell people if they have a problem with the administration or the president, Robert wrote a book. Robert is in our room. He's brilliant. He's right here. James, Robert, and it's called Trump is My Mirror. And it's so helpful because he's just calling his own mind out on how we're seeing, and it's just brilliant. It's a brilliant book for course students who have problems with this man, and it's free if you go to the unlimited. I think it's free for everyone, Robert, isn't it? Because I have unlimited Kindle. But I read it and I thought it was just extremely helpful, especially the way I handled it. I mean, I was like, but that's a program. It's good versus bad, bad versus good. And if we see it out there, it's just a call to go within and say, okay, time to clear or clean the system because it's not helping us at all.
Exactly.
Oh,
It's
you're going to send free copies? Oh, you're adorable, Robert. Yeah, I just enjoyed it. All his books. I haven't gotten to the others yet, but his books are equally as good as Wapnick. When I read them, I find him, he's a writer like Wapnick in a lot of ways. So, but it was fabulous book. So I wanted to say that.
Yeah, and that's how Bob speaks is through his
Mhm.
books because he can't speak.
I know.
And I think it's pretty amazing he started writing when he was 80. So and he's got like
Oh my
33 books
God.
out there. All
Yeah, I didn't
right.
know that.
All right. Our time is up for this particular session. And I'm going to mark us here. And if you're surprised that we're reading Healing the Unhealed Mind here, this is, I mean, really, this has really been helpful to me for sure. So I
It's
am going,
necessary. It really is. We all want to heal.
You're healed.
yes, in the
What did you
world.
say?
We are healed.
Yeah, we're not even
Healed.
here, so we don't even have to do anything, but we want to feel. What I find is I feel better. And when I feel better, that's what Ken would always say. Just do it because you'll feel better. He didn't want us to get to a place where we have no ego because he doesn't know how that's going to happen.
Hmm.
Yeah. So thank you
How
guys.
about we are?
Look at this. It doesn't work. My mirror,
We are.
I am, we are one. Yeah.
God is. All
God
right.
is and he ceased to
Thank
speak.
you all for joining us here on YouTube. Please like and uh, join, subscribe if you want to. You'll get notifications whenever we're on live.